Are you ready for the news that could completely change the future of the Texas Longhorns offensive line? Because what has happened in the last few hours isn't just another recruiting commitment. We are talking about an athlete who is already generating huge buzz in college football and has just made a decision likely to have repercussions in Austin for years to come. His name is Ismael Camara'S. Despite having limited competitive experience in American football, he is already regarded as one of the most impressive talents in the entire 2027 recruiting class. And when an athlete with such potential chooses to wear the Longhorns colors, no one within the program can ignore the impact of that decision. Before we go on, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and turn on notifications. That way, you won't miss any updates on the Texas Longhorns and can keep up with all the most important news in college football. Now, picture this scenario. A young athlete begins his American football journey relatively recently. Many might assume it would take years to catch the eye of the country's top university. Instead, his growth has been almost unbelievable. In a short time, his size, strength, mobility, and potential have begun to impress analysts, recruiters, and talent development experts. That is exactly the story surrounding Ismael Camara'S. His choice of the Texas Longhorns represents much more than just filling a spot on a future offensive line. It sends a clear message to the rest of the country that the program remains a highly attractive destination for elite athletes. When such a highly sought-after player announces his decision, the impact goes far beyond the day's headlines. The news quickly dominates conversations among fans, pundits, and recruiting observers. After all, talents of this caliber often shape a team's future for years to come. There is one detail that makes the story even more interesting. Camara'S arrives not only with positive national rankings, but also with immense expectations regarding his future development. Many analysts consider his technical ceiling to be extremely high precisely because he still has significant room for growth. And that may be exactly what excites Longhorns followers the most. We are talking about an athlete who possesses physical traits that are extremely rare for his age. His combination of size, strength, and mobility has turned heads since the very first videos released during his recruitment process. It is no coincidence that he quickly came to be regarded as one of the country's top prospects at his position. But there is something that always distinguishes great talents from truly special players: potential. The athlete who is most ready today isn't always the one who will dominate the landscape 4 or 5 years down the line. In many cases, coaches see precisely what hasn't yet fully manifested on the field. They look for technical details, the ability to learn, discipline, and constant improvement. In Ismael Camara'S case, virtually all these qualities appear in public evaluations by recruiting experts. That explains why his decision generated so much buzz. In my opinion, this signing represents one of those moves that might not grab headlines every Saturday during the season, but helps build important victories behind the scenes. Strong offensive lines are usually built long before the players take the field. They begin right at the recruiting stage. Of course, no prospect guarantees automatic success. College football is fiercely competitive. Adapting to the collegiate level requires daily work, physical development, technical growth, and a great deal of patience. Even 5-star recruits aren't guaranteed a path to stardom. Yet, some bets just make a lot of sense, and Ismael Camara'S certainly falls into that category. His arrival generates high expectations because he possesses virtually all the elements recruiters look for in a future elite player. It is not just about his impressive size, but also the athleticism he displays despite possessing such a dominant physique. That is precisely where our story truly begins, because the commitment announcement represents only the first chapter. Now, a new phase begins, one where all attention will be focused on his development within the Texas Longhorns program. From this moment on, every practice, every physical gain, and every technical improvement will be closely watched by the fan. And that further increases the responsibility attached to his name. But it also increases the opportunity. Few athletes arrive with such high expectations right at the start of their college journey. And when that happens, there is usually a compelling reason behind it. Ismael Camara'S was heavily recruited by several major college football programs. His final decision to join the Longhorns was seen as a significant victory for the program, reinforcing the university's ability to continue attracting top talent from the class of 2027. This detail helps explain why so much buzz surrounded him immediately after the official announcement. Beyond Beyond just landing a highly rated player, Texas has secured someone who could become a cornerstone of their future. And this is precisely where the Real story begins. Every great journey starts long before the applause. It begins when few believe that a still inexperienced young man can reach such an elite level. In Ismael Camara'S case, the speed of his development took recruiting analysts by surprise. His growth propelled him into the ranks of his generation's most sought-after athletes. Evaluations highlight his physique, his agility for his size, and his immense potential for technical development in the coming years. Looking at this profile, it is clear why so many universities vied for his commitment. We aren't just talking about a strong athlete. We are talking about a player who possesses a combination of attributes that are extremely rare to find together. While many prospects must choose between strength and mobility, Camara displays traits that suggest an above-average developmental trajectory. Naturally, this doesn't mean there won't be challenges. The transition to college football is often intense. The pace quickens, the physical demands increase. Opponents are faster, more skilled, and far more experienced. It is in this environment that the true test of Ismael Camara'S career will begin, and perhaps that is exactly what makes his story so compelling to follow. This is the moment when the most important phase of Ismael Camara'S career begins. Up to this point, all the recognition has stemmed from what he demonstrated as a prospect. Now, the mission is to turn potential into performance within one of American college football's most storied programs. That transition is never simple. During recruitment, an athlete is evaluated based on what they have already demonstrated and, above all, what they might become. Once at the university, however, every practice session, every rep, and every decision begins to matter. It is in this environment that top talents either live up to expectations or discover just how much room for growth remains. It will be no different for Ismael Camara'S. His arrival at the Texas Longhorns has generated great anticipation, as experts see a rare combination of physical attributes in him. His size, strength, and mobility are frequently highlighted in public scouting reports. These factors helped establish him as one of the most highly regarded athletes in the class of 2027. But there is something else that stands out even more. Camara began his American football journey relatively recently compared to many other elite athletes. Even so, his development was rapid enough to earn him national attention. This reveals a capacity for learning that is highly valued by college programs. And perhaps it is precisely this detail that makes his story so compelling. While some players peak during high school, others continue to evolve rapidly as they receive specialized training. In Ismael Camara'S case, many analysts believe he still has enormous room for growth. This means the athlete's current version may be far removed from the one we will see in the future. It is precisely this kind of projection that generates so much excitement among fans. Naturally, no projection is a guarantee. College football is extremely demanding. Talent opens doors, but only dedication, discipline, and constant improvement allow an athlete to maintain a high level of performance. That will be Camara'S great challenge, to demonstrate day in and day out that the expectations raised during the recruitment process can be validated on the field. In my opinion, this is perhaps the most interesting aspect of the story. It is easy to celebrate a major commitment the moment it happens. It is far more difficult to follow the entire development process that follows. True results emerge over time. They are built during practice. In terms of physical conditioning, technical skill acquisition, and adapting to the pace of college athletics, the announcement of Ismael Camara'S represents the beginning of a journey rather than the conclusion of a story. A completely different phase begins now. Fans will undoubtedly follow every update on his progress, every piece of news regarding his physical development, every training session he joins, and every step taken toward the moment he can finally showcase his talent at a high level. This kind of expectation is part of life for elite athletes. The greater the recognition received during recruitment, the greater the responsibility. Yet, it also reflects the confidence experts have in his potential. Building a winning team in college football requires long-term planning, and it is precisely in this context that Ismael Camara'S arrival becomes significant. It represents an investment in the future, a bet on development, and demonstrates that the program continues to attract some of the country's most promising athletes. For Texas Longhorns fans, this news reinforces the hope that the program will maintain a high level of competitiveness in the coming seasons. Of course, no one can predict the future with certainty. Injuries, the adjustment process, technical growth, and countless other factors are all part of an athlete's career. career. Therefore, it would be incorrect to claim that any player is destined for success. What we can say, based on public evaluations and confirmed facts, is that Ismael Camara'S possesses qualities that justify all the attention he has received so far. Now, it is up to him to write the next chapters of this story. Every training session will be an opportunity. Every challenge will serve as a learning experience. Every season will represent a new step toward the goals that drove his decision to join the Longhorns. That is precisely the beauty of sport. No evaluation steps onto the field, no ranking wins game. Everything comes down to the work put in and day out. And perhaps that is what makes this news even more exciting, because it marks just the beginning. This marks the beginning of a journey that Texas Longhorns fans will be watching with great anticipation. There are still many blank pages in this story, and only time will tell how far Ismael Camara'S will go while wearing Texas colors. Regardless of what happens next, one thing is certain. His commitment to the Longhorns is one of the most significant recruiting developments for the program's class of 2027. Now, all that remains is to follow every step of this journey. Will the high expectations surrounding Ismael Camara'S translate into on-field success? Only the coming years will provide the answer. And what about you, Texas Longhorns fan? Do you believe Ismael Camara'S has the potential to become a key part of the team's future? Leave your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to know if you think this signing could define a new generation for the program. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with fellow Longhorns fans. See you next time.